the live today. It's going to be all about mastering client retention. So I feel like I'm really qualified to talk about this because if you don't know me, I've been an educator here with Unite for a while now, and I've owned a salon for 11 years. I've also been doing hair for behind the chair for far longer than I want to admit. And I would say that in my time behind the chair, probably 70 to 80% of my clientele has been with me the whole 20 plus years. So I also at the salon have 20 hairdressers. A lot of them came through my assistant program, became stylists, and now are booth runners in the salon. And the only way you can accomplish all of this is with client retention. So clients rebooking their appointments, staying with you for years. It's the most important part of our job. It makes our life so much easier. So I'm excited to talk about it today. I feel like I could talk about it forever. When I started out doing hair, I just knew I did not want to be rebuilding a clientele every week. I wanted to look at my books, know the names of the people on the pages, be excited to see them. I wanted to hear what was going on in their life. I wanted to know their hair. But most of all, I wanted to know that I had repeat business coming in, that I wasn't gonna have to worry about like how I was paying my bills or my booth rent or any of that. Also, I like to know what I'm walking into, and the idea of having a new client or a book of new clients was just terrifying to me. So I just decided early on that I wanted to build a clientele that I could just keep forever. So because I've been doing hair a long time, I did do that. And now I've, all my clients, like life experiences, everything they're going through, we've been with each other forever. So there's flexibility in that. And there's also just total guaranteed income and reliability. So I can't stress enough how important it is to make sure that your clientele is coming back to you. So they say that it's 5 times harder to get a new client than just to retain the client you do have. So I'm going to start with that thought. And as always, if you feel like you want to comment any questions or you have anything you want to know as I'm talking, just fire away. Mike will stop me and I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, I'm just going to blab on for the next 20 minutes and I can answer questions later. So are we good, boys?
Yeah.
The audio's good?
Great.
Okay. So where do you start with client retention? So I would say like the first start, and I listed them all up here, like my top 4 things. So I'll probably be like referencing this and it's also going to keep me on track. But the most important thing in like retaining a clientele is their experience.
You're good. Sorry for the
It's really hard, boys, today.
We're out of practice.
Like I said, it's been a long time and we've been world traveling, so I guess excuses. But anyways, the most important thing always with a new client or a repeat client or a first-time client is like the experience that they have when they come to your salon. So it's a little nerve-wracking for someone to come to a salon for the first time. They don't know where they're going, where they're gonna sit, what their hairdresser is like. So you just really want to start with like that. So at my salon, when a client walks in, they're greeted immediately, sometimes by multiple people. So the receptionist, of course, is going to give a warm, friendly hello. How are you doing today? Let me get your hairdresser for you. So instantly the client feels like more at home. And then as they're walking to wherever they're going, to the station, to sit in the waiting area and wait, everyone's smiling. Like, there's no ego, attitude, anything like that. Like, it's like a welcome space for everybody to come, and I'm really big on that. So so when they come in, they're greeted. If the stylist is not ready to see them yet, it's all about like the small details. So offering coffee, water, soda while they wait. Then when they get to the station is clean, the hairdresser's ready and on time and presentable. All of these things go a long way for making your client feel comfortable. And if they're comfortable, they're going to be more relaxed during their service, which is going to make you feel more confident. So definitely you want to make sure your client experience is like 10 out of 10. So now they're in the chair, they're feeling comfortable, you've introduced yourself. The next thing you want to make sure that you do is have a good consultation. So like know exactly where you're going to go with the service. They're going to show you pictures, talk about what you're going to do so that there's no like miscommunications on what's going to happen. Then you're going to perform your service, and this is when we're going to get into like how you're going to actually turn those clients into repeat customers, right? Because it's easier to keep them than to keep finding new ones. So they've had a great experience. They got their hair cut. Now you're done doing their hair. The first way you can ensure that they come back again is to pre-book their next appointment. So I know a lot of new hairdressers have a harder time with this. Experienced hairdressers do not, because like when you're getting ready to leave the salon, if you're my guest, if you don't pre-book, you're not coming back, right? Like your schedule's gonna be too busy, my schedule's gonna be too busy. So when you hit the front desk, the first thing I'm gonna say to you is like, hey, so when do you wanna come back? You know, like, and my clients know if they leave without an appointment, they're really gonna have a hard time getting back in. But for new hairdressers, I think they struggle a little bit with this because they know they have openings. So they feel like they're being pushy to tell the client like, hey, pre-book your next appointment, knowing that they might be able to get in. So I think it's like a mindset adjustment. You want to think about like, in 6 weeks, I might be busy, right? Like, and I want you to get in because I liked doing your hair. You liked me doing your hair. So like, let's set this up, you know? So I think some easy ways to do that are to like, think about what's coming forward. Like, hey, we're getting into summer, you know, I'm sure you're gonna wanna lighten up your hair a little bit. So let's get you on the books so we can make sure that happens. Or Christmas is coming, my books tend to fill up. Or just simply ask, like, don't be scared of the no, because, I mean, what does it hurt? They're not gonna say, no, I didn't like my hair and I don't like you. They're gonna say like, hey, I don't know what my schedule looks like in 6 weeks. I'm gonna give you a call, you know, something like that. So, and that's all okay. Like, don't get your feelings hurt if someone doesn't pre-book. People have busy calendars. They don't know, you know, what's happening, but you have to ask and you have to try your best to get them on your books, because there's nothing worse than looking at an appointment book 6 weeks out and seeing nobody. Like, there's no stress like that. So better to try to fill your books in advance with people that you know enjoyed doing their hair. So that is the biggest thing for client retention, is making sure that you pre-book their next appointment. So they've had a great salon experience, you booked their next one, now they're coming for their next appointment. The other way to guarantee that they're gonna keep coming after the second appointment is to be consistent. So you wanna make sure that you're not changing your schedule all the time. If you say you're gonna be there, you're there. You have availability for them to get in if they want to get in. And this is all for people who are trying to build and they want their clientele to stay with them. You have more flexibility the busier you become and the longer you've been doing hair. But if you're trying to build a clientele, you have to have availability and you have to show up when you say you're gonna be there. Hairdressers already have a reputation of being a little bit on the flaky side, which I personally don't understand because my salon does not run that way. I don't have a lot of hairdressers in the salon that are like that, but that's the reputation on the street. So you have to do your best to not be that way. So showing up on time, getting a client in, like being available. I believe in work-life balance for sure, but clients work. So if you're gonna take a Saturday off, you probably need to work some nights that week to be able to get them in. I don't believe in working when you're sick, not at all, but if you're gonna reschedule a client, you need to make sure that you can get them in as soon as possible. And if you can't, and this is the hardest thing for people, like, okay, I'm sick, I cancel my client. She's like, Allison, I really had something I needed to do. Rather than me being like, sorry, I'm gonna try to get her in with someone at my salon, because as much as I want the money and I want to see my guests, like, it's most important that she's happy. And if she comes into my salon and sees another one of my stylists there, most likely she's gonna be grateful that I did that for her. She's also gonna have great hair. And then it's gonna be a lot harder for her to stay with that other stylist because she's not gonna want me to see that, right? So she'll come back, obviously to me. And if she doesn't and she stays with that stylist, then great. Then my friend just got a client. Versus sending them out on the street, you like literally, they could get their hair messed up, which is more work for you. It's too easy for them not to come back. So if you absolutely can't do your client, help them out. Set them up with someone in the salon. That's going to retain them in the long run. Okay, I'm blabbing. Any questions?
We got someone from Cosmoprof_Kelso8730 saying, love this. And then Chloe Guns says customer service is number one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's all we got so far.
Yeah. So I think sometimes adding on to that, I think sometimes we feel like maybe our guest is lucky to be in our chair because like you're about to like change their life with the most awesome hair ever. But really, we have nothing without our guests. So it's really that simple to give that little bit of extra customer service. It's also going to help you in the long run because I literally have a full book and I don't have one client I don't like. Seriously. So if you're not a match for me, that's fine. I'll find someone else at the salon that matches better. So I just think sometimes you have to know that the customer definitely is not always right. Like I don't necessarily believe in that, but the customer service is key, which means you have to be available, you have to pre-book them, you know, you have to listen to what it is that they're asking for. And yeah, so that's great. Okay, so to recap what I was saying, the salon experience, number one, we don't want them to feel lost in the salon, nothing like that. Number two, I gave you tips on how to change a first-time client into a repeat customer. So like I said, that's number one, pre-booking the client for future appointments. Maybe knowing a little bit about them so when they come back, they feel at home, like I want to know the rest of the story. Like, oh my gosh, what happened? How did that go? How are your kids? You know, whatever. And then like I said, once you've built that bond with a client, it's so much easier for flexibility because it's like, oh my gosh, my son has football tonight. Can you come tomorrow night? And they have like zero problem with that. And if they say no, then obviously I have to accommodate where I can. So even after 20 plus years, I still do this and my clients still do this. So those are all big things. Okay. So the other thing that I think sometimes gets overlooked and is really important for retaining a client is like products, right? Like what we're using on the hair. So if I have a new stylist and she does a haircut on a client and I go to look at the ticket later and I see that she did the haircut, she tipped the stylist and she also bought product, then I know for sure that client's coming back. That means that they trusted the hairdresser enough, loved it enough to tip her, pre-booked an appointment, and also bought whatever prescribed products were offered to her. To me, that's like a 10 out of 10 experience. Like, that's how I know they're coming back. So how do you do that and why? So I think a lot of times hairdressers will feel like it's like pressure sailing, like you have to, oh, this is what I used on you today. But we don't do that at my salon at all. It's more like, I'm the hair doctor and I'm prescribing you what your hair needs so that it's better for you and better for me next time I do your hair. So if someone's hair is like feeling damaged, I'm gonna prescribe them something that's gonna repair their hair so that next time I see them, I might be able to go a little further with the lightness or, you know, you could use that example for 100 different things. So also I tend to use the same products on every client to start with, right? So my go-tos obviously are like the 7 seconds detangler. So I'm not just spraying this on the client's hair and then going on to the next thing. I'm spraying it and then nine times out of 10, I was like, stop. 9 times out of 10, they're like, what's that smell? It smells so good. And so it just opens up the conversation for what I'm using. So then I'm like, this is 7 seconds detangler. It's helping me comb out your hair. It's also gonna be a heat protectant for me. It's gonna make your hair dry shinier. And the best part is it's not gonna weigh down your hair. And they're like, oh, cool, right? And so then.
Ash Nicole Gunn says that is the greatest product ever.
Agree.
The client needs this.
Agree. So is it selling or is it telling your friend like what they have to have, right? Like, I don't think I wouldn't want to do my hair without this. So it's kind of like gatekeeping if you don't share the information. So then every client after that gets one of the 2 argan oils that we have. So I'm putting this on the hair. Again, I'm not just putting it on and leaving. I'm putting it on and they're like, ooh, what are you putting on now? And I'm like, oh, well, since your hair's blonde and a little on the finer side, I'm using the Blonda oil. If you had thicker hair or darker hair, I might be using the U oil. And again, this is gonna help me dry your hair faster. It's gonna make it really shiny, and it's gonna protect it from whatever heat service I'm about to do, and it's not gonna weigh down your hair. And so then maybe I'm telling them like how I'm gonna apply it, or whatever details I want to do. But seriously, like, if every client left with just these 2 products, my life would be easier next time around, because they're gonna be repairing their hair over the weeks until I see them again. So if you don't know where to start with products, like, this is it, in my opinion. So then, like I was saying too, I mean, you could go through the whole line and there might be, like when you spray texturizer on, you're not just spraying it on. It's kind of like a visual demonstration. You're tipping the hair, you're spraying it in, and it's, I think I got that in my eye. It's instantly pumping up the volume that they can see, right? So then they're like, whoa, what magic was that? I have to have that. And that just opens the conversation. So after you do all that, if a client really is like open and wants to, like, I'm not into pushing products on people who can't afford it or don't want to do it. Like, no, none of that. But like, if someone's asking you questions, they want to know. So you should definitely share the information. And then the next thing you just have to remember to do is when they're sitting in the chair, I'm so notorious for this, I don't even want to admit it, but like a client will be like, I have to have that, Allison, let's not forget. And guess what? I forget. So you have to like have it there ready for them when they check out. Like, really, we shouldn't be listening to, your clients should be listening to you and your advice on products, because you know their hair. So like, influencers are great, even educators like me, great, but depending on the hair type that's sitting right in front of me, like, obviously everybody loves 7 seconds detangler, that's a no-brainer. But if someone has really thick, coarse hair, I might not recommend this. I might recommend Boing, because it's got like even more moisture. So, but if you saw me online, you'd be like, Allison says everybody needs this. Well, yes, but there's also people that could use that better. So you are the best person to be telling your client what they need for their hair, hands down. So don't let them go figure it out on the internet or with some stranger that, doesn't know their hair like you do. So like I said, as far as like products go and retaining clients, you're making your canvas better for next time you see them. So like I said, if they have damaged hair, maybe you're gonna, throwing things now. Maybe you're gonna tell them about a repair line. So this product in particular, the Reunite, if you shampoo them with this at the shampoo bowl, there is no way they're not mentioning something about the scent, because it literally smells so good. So then if they take that home with them, then the next time they come in, their hair's gonna be that much stronger for you to work with. So, and then like I said, if they buy the product at the end, that means they really trusted your opinion. And that's a good indication that they're coming back, right? So that's the Reunite. If anyone is struggling with recommending products or anything like that, please, you can message me anytime. There is like go-tos for me that are like easy to just help your client's hair, and 1 or 2 products that do, a lot of good for their hair. So last but not least, so you've given them an exceptional salon experience. You're going to turn them into a return guest by having them pre-book their appointment. They loved their hair. They purchased products, which is going to make them come back the next time. But let's say that none of that happened, right? Like they didn't pre-book their appointment. They didn't buy product. You're like terrified. You're like, oh my gosh, do they not like it? You're going to worst case scenario when it could just be they didn't have the money at the time, or they didn't know their schedule. The next thing is follow up, and I'm really big on this. So say I sat down in a hairdresser's chair and I'm like, I'm ready for a bob. They don't know me at all. I'm a little nervous. So I've had short hair before, like it's not really scary, but I promise when they cut my hair, I'm going to be a little nervous. I think as a hairdresser, you kind of can feel that vibe, and you might be like, hey, if you have any issues with your hair, like you want it shorter or you need more layers, please feel free to text me. I never have any problem tweaking your hair. It's rarely about the haircut. Maybe the client just needs it tweaked a little bit. So you just don't want to leave them the whole month hating their hair when honestly like a little fringe or a little more layers might just make them so much happier. And it's like a 10-minute quick fix. So on follow-up. So they didn't pre-book their next appointment, right? And you're like, why not? You know, whatever. So it's simple. Have your receptionist or you send out a text in a week or two and say, hey, Sally, I hope you loved your haircut. I really loved meeting you. Let me know if you want to book your next haircut. Here's the number. You can text me, or here's my website to book online. If they don't want to come back, they're just not going to answer. It's not a big deal, but you have to be brave enough to like take that step. Or, hey, Sally, I know we cut your hair really short at your last appointment. I loved it. I hope you're loving it. Let me know if you're having any issues or, you know, how it's going, and then let's get you on my books to book your next appointment. All of these things are going to lead to, you know, them coming back, because honestly, do you want someone out there hating their hair? It's better to know and be able to fix it. So I think follow-up is really important. And even for me, after doing hair all these years, if I, like just a couple weeks ago, a client has really long hair and she wanted fringe, and I could tell she instantly was like, why did I do that, right? So I reached out like, hey, I know you weren't like super stoked about your bangs. Are you getting used to them now? Do you want to tweak the layers? Like, how's it going? You know, like just that little bit of extra check-in, so they're not like, oh my God, Allison cut my bangs and just hung me out to dry. So follow-up is really important. Now I'm choking. This is what you get when you make me talk for this long. But this is all like really important stuff for rebooking your, you know, getting your clientele to stay with you for years, so that you know how much money you're going to make. You know that you have clients coming in, and most of all, you know what clients are coming in, so they fit what kind of hair you want to do. So I hope that helped. If you have any questions, like I said, feel free to message me anytime. You can comment on the video below. If you did not catch us live, this stays up on Unite Hair.
Instagram, it'll be on the Unite TV's website, as well as the YouTube.
So you can find it lots of places. But honestly, like these are the biggest tips for building a clientele and retaining it. So I hope you learned something new today and that helped out. And when is the next?
Next live is next Monday, October 27th with Gary, and you already.
Yeah, so Gary's going to be here next Monday to talk about everything we did at Fashion Week. I'm definitely going to be tuning in. I think you should tune in too. And like I said, if you've ever had any interest in going to Fashion Week, now is the time. It's like literally getting better and better every season. So yeah, so we'll see you Monday with Gary, and then I think I'm back next month sometime. So thanks.